What's up, guys? Welcome back to FishOfHex. My name is Travis. Hope you had a good weekend. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about two upgrades that I've recently made to my RODI mixing station. The first one's going to be to the DI Resin, which has improved the amount of water I can make and also saving me money. The second one is going to be to how I transport that water here in the fish room, doing water changes, topping up ATOs. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so the first upgrade we're going to talk about is to the DI Resin side of things. Now, if you've been here for a while and you've seen the build series in the fish room, you've probably noticed that I was running a dual mixed bed resin. Now, there's nothing wrong with this resin. It works perfectly fine. It always provides 0 TDS water, but the only problem is when I was filling up this 170-gallon barrel, which, by the way, I go through 3 times a month, every time I filled that up, I would burn through one entire cartridge of mixed bed. Now, that's okay if I only filled it up once a month, but the fact that I'm going through it 3 times, you could see how buying that DI resin could really add up at the end of the month. Now, after dealing with that for about 8 months, I decided to go ahead and check out Bulk Reef Supply's Pro DI Resin setup. Now, I will link their original video in the description, as well as a link to the product on the website, so you guys can get all the ins and outs and details to it, because I will not be covering everything here in this video. But basically what it does is instead of having 3 chambers full of mixed bed, it's actually the far right chamber, or the last chamber, is mixed bed, and then the other 2 are separated. So the first one's going to be cation, second one's going to be anion, and then the third one again is that mixed bed. Now, over the last 3 months of using this, I've really only replaced the cation twice, but I probably replaced the anion 10 times, just because of the fact that it burns through that much quicker than it does the cation. And the mixed bed's probably been 1 or 2 times at that max, really. And yeah, so not only does it save me a ton of money, but it also makes it very clear and precise when you have to change it, because the color distinctions and changes are much better than it used to be on the mixed bed. And yeah, so I really like the fact that I have this implemented in here now. I'm making a ton of water, and with that new planted tank, I'm burning through another 50-gallon water change every single week on that system, of course, resulting in more RODI water. Now, another thing that's really cool about this unit is it comes with a 3-stage TDS meter. Now, basically, what this does is you're going to have the first one on the input of the first chamber. This will allow you to see what kind of water or TDS is coming off your RO unit. The second one's going to be after the second stage, before it goes into the third. That way you can kind of see if there's any kind of TDS creep coming off there. Maybe you're kind of not really comfortable seeing the color changing, whatever. You'll be able to catch that TDS before it gets into the mixed bed. And then the third, of course, is what's coming out of the mixed bed into your RO storage bin. Now, this is really cool because I also run a dual stage on my RO unit, seeing what kind of TDS is coming from my tap, and then also what kind of TDS I'm getting off of my first membrane. That way I know when it's kind of time to change that. So, really cool to have these meters alongside the color changing. You can definitely avoid having any of that TDS creep, or actually accidentally not changing it on time or forgetting it or whatever reason, and then dumping, of course, dirty water into your RO bin, which nobody wants to do. Now, when I upgraded the DI, I also went ahead and took that opportunity to change out all the filters on my RO unit. Now, the membranes, they're 2 150-gallon per day. They were not exactly ready to be changed out, but I figured, what the heck, they're already, 8 months in, I might as well change them. It doesn't really matter. I kind of want to start fresh with the whole system. So I changed out both of those. Also changed out the carbon in the GAC, as well as the pre-filter. Now, over the last 3 months, the only thing I really do is flush the system with the flush valve for about 5 or 10 minutes before I start filling up the water. And then I have changed out the carbon filter once, the GAC once, and then the pre-filter about 3 or 4 times. And yeah, the system is running great. I'm getting pretty decent TDS coming off of the RO unit. Now, because I run dual membranes, I have a little bit dirtier water going into the DI because of that, because I am actually cutting my wastewater in half by running both of these membranes. And the only downside of that, of course, is having a little bit higher TDS going into your DI. So this whole setup is perfect, and I'm very thankful for BRS for coming up with it. And again, I'll have all their videos and stuff in the description so you guys can check that out. All right, so let's go and move on to the second upgrade, and that is a hose reel for the mixing station. Why did I wait so long to do this? I have no idea. Over the last 8 months, I've just been simply kind of tucking it together, putting it in the corner, and then dealing with it being knotted up and just a mess of stuff every time I needed to do a water change or top off ATOs. And I do it quite often in here, so it's just one of those things that I just dealt with. But I went to Home Depot a couple weeks ago and I decided, hey, I'm going to try to do this upgrade and see if I can get it to work. Now, basically, I picked up the hose reel, and it was about $25, $30, and then I got a few different fittings to kind of adjust and kind of attach the original mixing station to it, as well as attach my vinyl hose or tubing. And it's pretty simple to set up. The one thing I do want to mention is on the inside where it connects, you want to take it apart and you want to remove that grease. Now, I don't know how it would have affected the tanks, but in this hobby, I don't really take any chances with that. You're going to want to go in there and you're going to run it under hot water. You're going there with Q-tips. It took me about 45 minutes to get every speck of grease. Of course, remove the seals there or the gaskets or whatever. You want to clean those out, make sure they're good to go, just because you don't want to take any chances of getting that grease in your tank. Now, once everything was cleaned and put back together, it was time to go ahead and attach it to the wall. Now, originally I used some plastic concrete fittings. Basically, once you screw the screw into them, they expand and it holds it in place. Needless to say, they only worked for a little while because there is quite a bit of pressure in there when you're taking the hose out, reeling it up. They just became loose. So I went ahead and went back to Home Depot, upgraded to the metal ones, and which were actually half the price as the original plastic ones, and they worked out great. It hasn't moved, so just take that in consideration when you kind of have this similar setup in concrete. And yeah, I love the setup. It's freaking awesome. The hose is about 100 feet and it's really easy to reel up, and it just makes topping off the ATOs, which I have 3 of them here in the fish room, doing water changes on 1, 2, 3, 4 tanks, not including the 6 quarantine tanks and then the coral quarantine tank. So there's a lot of stuff in here that this hose gets used for on a daily basis. So I'm really, really happy that I did this. Again, why did I wait so long? I'm not sure. Well, guys, that's about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully it gave you an idea of some of the upgrades that maybe you could do in your fish room. All right. Either way, again, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to support the channel, check out FishOfHex.com for coral sales, t-shirt sales. A lot of stuff going on that website, and I'm working on it every single day, and I appreciate all the support. So until next time, which will be Wednesday, I'll see you guys in another video. Not quite sure what it's going to be yet, but I'll see you Wednesday. All right. Peace.